Welcome to Therapeutic Intentions Podcast. My name is Stephanie Dingbaum. I am a mental health therapist, and I am so passionate about all things health and wellness, personal development, and empowering others to be their most authentic and best versions of themselves. Here at Therapeutic Intentions, we are all about having intentional and authentic conversations on whole body health, healing practices, mindset, and ways to uplevel your life so you can truly be the best version of you. If you are a woman, a mom, hope to someday be a mom, a healer, or just in a place where you want to start prioritizing yourself and your health, then this podcast is for you. I am so glad you're here. If you're ready, let's get to it. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back. This is episode number 11, and I'm just going to toot my horn for a second because I hit my first milestone, got my first 10 sessions out there and published and shared with the world, and guys, it just feels so good. I cannot express this enough, and I feel like I probably sound like a broken record, but it's okay. This podcast has been so fulfilling. I'm getting just seriously some amazing feedback from friends, from family, from people I don't even know. And it just feels so good because I did this hoping that it would just touch at least one person. And it's way more than that. So I feel like the whole reason I went about going after the podcast, it's worked. I'm meeting that goal, that desire, and I'm seeing my numbers grow when I look at the stats each week, and it just feels so good. So I guess I'm saying all of that to say thank you to all of my listeners and my supporters. Whether I know you or not, it just means the world to me. I'm getting a lot of just great feedback, and it's just appreciated more than you guys know. And I know I say this at the end of every episode, but seriously, I mean it. If there's just been one episode that really touched you, that really hit you in the feels, that you just resonated with so much, whatever app you listen to it on, leave me a review or give me a rating or send me a DM and let me know, because I just love hearing this, you guys. I love hearing the feedback. It just means, gosh, it means so much to me. I can't express that enough. So thank you, and I hope you keep listening. This has just been such a great experience so far, and I have no doubt it's going to continue. So anyways, episode number 11, what I originally was planning on talking about was going after your desires, going after what lights you up in life and making that your reality. But before I get into that, I have to share, I got together with an old friend from high school earlier this last week. As I'm recording this, it's the weekend of Mother's Day. And so earlier this week, I had a friend over, and we haven't hung out since high school, you guys. And I graduated high school in 2008. So it's been a few, but our lives just took us in different directions. It's not like we didn't keep in touch, because we did from time to time, but nothing really beyond just sending each other messages every now and then on social media. So nothing extensive. She had moved back to the area within the last couple of years, and we decided it's time to get together again. So I had her over this week one night after work. She came over, and I just want complete transparency. I want to say that, that's sometimes a risk, getting back together, reigniting an old friendship, especially one that truly hasn't connected in over 10 years, because people change, right? You don't know if we're going to jive anymore. So there's always a little bit of a risk with that. But when Maggie, her name's Maggie, when Maggie came over this week, it was just truly magical. Our time together was. And so I wanted to start today's episode talking a little bit about that, because ironically, what I wanted to talk to you guys about, going after what lights you up in life, we actually got on that topic Tuesday night when we got together. And I just thought, that's kind of ironic because I'm actually going to be talking about this in the podcast episode this week. And so there's a lot I want to say about that. First of all, just in regards to the get together that I had with Maggie and how magical that was. I understand sometimes it's a risk, but after she left Tuesday night, all I could think about was rekindling that friendship was the best thing we could have done. Just have we both changed? Yes, we have both changed, but we still jive. I would say probably more than we did in high school, even. And that doesn't always happen. So it just truly filled my cup up in ways I did not anticipate. Like I said, we were friends in high school and life just took us in different directions. She moved out to Michigan and, life gets busy. There's no excuse for why friends don't always stay in touch, but, life gets busy for everybody. Nobody's more or less guilty than the other. So, yeah, when she moved back to this area, we've been saying for probably, I don't know, the last 4 months, we've been saying like, we're going to make something work. We're going to get together again. And finally making it happen was just the best thing we could have done. And I do firmly believe in divine timing. So I think the fact that it happened now, like this is when it was meant to happen, and that's okay. But as we were visiting, she actually brought up the topic about the 30s being just the absolute best time in her life so far. I was like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that, but she's right. I remember being in my young 20s and thinking my 20s are just going to be the best part of my life. Now that I'm in my young 30s, I enjoyed my 20s, but I'm seriously like the 30s are going to be the best years of my life. And so we got talking about that, about how we just truly love our lives right now. And we're living out our dreams and our goals and making new adult friends and growing our families. And we both feel like we're just more confident now than we were in our 20s. And I personally feel like I'm more enlightened now than I was in my 20s. And it's just so funny because it's just not something people typically talk about, but it's a very valid point how great the 30s can be. And I think it's really interesting because if you think about it, or in my life experience anyways, in our 20s, that's when I was like truly setting goals for myself as an adult, truly thinking about, okay, what is it that I want to do career-wise? Where do I see myself 10 years from now? Where do I want to go physically in life? Where do I want to travel to? And now that I'm 33, but now that I'm in my 30s, it's like I can look back at the last 10 years and see how some of those things have actually happened and how they've really manifested themselves in my life. And there's so much power with that. Quite honestly, the traveling just for myself within the last 3 to 5 years has just been the best ever. But it's so true about how now in our 30s, we're truly living out our dreams and our goals that we had set for ourselves when we were in our 20s. And that just kind of blows my mind. So if you're in your 30s and this really resonates with you, I'm just telling you, I hear you, I feel you, I totally understand. It's just crazy because I feel like this isn't something we talk about at the dinner table. But you know what? That's why we have the podcast, because we're here to talk about things that you can't necessarily talk about around the dinner table. So this is why we're here. If you're in your 20s and you're dreading your 30s, I'm here to tell you they're going to be the best years ever. For me personally, since I made the leap of faith in my career to start my own business, that's a big reason why I feel like my 30s are just the best so far, because I'm truly living out my dreams, you guys. I am. And those goals I had set for myself in my late 20s, they're coming to life. They are truly manifesting. And it just feels so rewarding and fulfilling. My soul is just so happy to see these things come to life. And then, like I mentioned earlier, the making new adult friends, that's so powerful too. I feel like my closest friends right now, those friendships are, I feel like I say soul filling a lot and I don't want to repeat that, but they're just so solid. And the quality of those friendships is just unlike any other time in my life. And I'm so confident in those friendships too. And I feel like that stems from the building of those relationships in the last 5 to 10 years. But that feels so good to say that now in my 30s that I am truly in the best place right now with my friendships. And it's kind of awkward sometimes making new friends as an adult, but I'm more confident in that area too. And like I mentioned earlier, it's also the 30s is also the time where you either have your family or you're growing your family. And there's so much fulfillment in that as well. And I truly feel like I'm so much more enlightened now. My eyes have just been opened so much going into my 30s. I just feel so much more spiritually enlightened as well. And I wouldn't trade that for the world. And then the last thing, like I mentioned, is my confidence. I think I truly needed my 20s to build my confidence. But now that I'm in my 30s, I actually was just telling my husband a couple weeks ago how I've definitely noticed my confidence has grown. I think a large part of that is because of the podcast, but it's funny how I've been in different social situations just in the last month since starting the podcast that typically would make me a little uneasy or just uncomfortable. And now I don't even recognize that. I'm confident in these situations now. And it's just so cool to see myself grow in that way. But it's not only from the podcast. I can truly say my confidence has grown just since being 30, like truly just going into this new era of my life. It feels so good to let go of some of those worries that I had in my 20s and to just embrace that confidence. And I don't feel bad about it, you guys. Like, I worked hard to get this confidence. I'm not going to apologize for it. Although, truth be told, my husband sometimes says I'm a little too confident, but you know what? He loves that about me. He does. He would tell you that too. But yeah, it's just so interesting. So if you're in your 30s and you really relate to this, I hear you. And if you're in your 20s and you're like dreading being 30 someday, trust me when I tell you, these are the best years. And then if you're in your 40s listening to this and you're like, you just wait, I hope in 7 years I'm able to say like, oh, the 40s are just the best ever. I hope it just keeps getting better. I truly do. But anyways, I digress. Maggie and I got together. We got talking about all of this. Such powerful conversation. And then the conversation turned into going after our dreams or our current jobs and future goals. And it's like the conversation just kept getting better as the night went on. And all of it relates to what I wanted to talk about tonight. So it's just so great. Perfect timing, truly divine timing. All of this was because the theme in my life lately, there's been so much conversation around going after what lights you up. Seriously, you guys, so many conversations about this with friends, with acquaintances, with other female entrepreneurs that I'm meeting. It's like this has just been a reoccurring theme. And I'm also hearing from many friends and acquaintances in regards to like unhappiness in their current job or just not feeling content or feeling bored or just not getting that fulfillment that they wish they were getting. And I really struggle when I'm hearing those stories because it just kind of makes me sad. Life is too short. Why stay in something that doesn't truly light you up? Like something that gets you excited to get out of bed in the morning. Life's way too short, truly. I mean, I've had that reminder in my life way too many times. If you're one of those individuals that feels not happy or not content in your current job situation, you need to listen up, okay? I'm telling you, when I made that leap in my job to go after what truly lights me up, best thing I ever did for myself. If you haven't listened to the episode about this, I can't remember what number it is. I think it might be episode number 3 or maybe 4. But, anyways, listen to that episode because that's where I talk all about the leap of faith that I took. If you're feeling not content, if you're feeling bored, if you're not getting fulfillment out of your current job situation, think about what it is that you need. Think about what it is that lights you up. Seriously, what would motivate you to get out of bed every morning? What would light that fire under your ass to want to go to work every day, to not have the Sunday night blues? Whatever it is, make the leap. Go out, go after what lights you up, you guys. Seriously. Because those dreams, they don't have to just be a dream. That can be an actual goal. You can make it happen. Whenever I run into people, especially lately, or since starting my business, and they ask me about my job now, I tend to tone it down a little bit because I can get really giddy and excited when I'm talking about it. But my answers are seriously always the same. It's like, it's so great. I can't be happier. Business is thriving and growing. And I'm sharing my wins. And I just feel so good. And I just truly think everybody deserves to feel that way. If you're going to get up every day and put 8 hours into something, shouldn't it be something that lights you up? Like, shouldn't it be something that truly lights that passion in your heart? I think it should. And I don't think that's a ridiculous concept either. Along the lines of like people are asking me about my job and what I've been saying recently, I've been telling people that it feels so aligned and right. It feels like I should have been practicing therapy all along. And same with the podcast. I've been telling people that the podcast, while I love practicing therapy, and that definitely is in alignment with me and where I'm supposed to be right now, the podcast does that for me as well, but it also is fulfilling for me on a whole other level than therapy. I mean, it's just mind-blowing that I went after these things and that I'm just truly happy and fulfilled. It's mind-blowing. And I get goosebumps when I can share this because I'm just so happy that I trusted my gut and went after the things that I wanted to manifest. It just feels so good. I'm sharing all of this because I understand the doubt that people may have. I understand the fear of there's no way I can make this a reality. With what money? With what support? What if I fail? What if I don't know what I'm talking about? What if I'm not good enough? Tell that voice to shut the F up. Seriously, okay? Because that's doubt. That's that negative self-talk. That's anxiety talking. Make that go away. Take control of those thoughts and do not let them talk to you that way. Because those dreams that are on your heart, they're not ridiculous. It is not too far-fetched. You can make that a reality. You can. First place to start is with your mindset, and then eventually the rest will fall into place. So my question to you listeners right now, first of all, are you doing something that lights you up currently? Are you doing something that you actually want to get out of bed for every morning? Are you doing something that you're eager to talk about with others on the weekends and evenings? Are you doing something that gets you giddy and excited? Because again, those are not ridiculous concepts. It is truly possible to find a job, to create a career for yourself that lights you up, that makes you excited, that you want to get out of bed for every morning, that you're eager to talk about with other people, whether it be friends, relatives, strangers, you name it. It is possible to feel giddy and excited about going to work every day. These are not ridiculous concepts. I know it's not, because that's my life right now. And my final question is, do you have the drive? Because you're going to need that drive. I shared my why with you in one of my earlier episodes. That's what drives me every day. And do you know what helped light the fire under my ass? Many things. I'll list them off for you. Talking to others who are already doing what it was I wanted to be doing, that really lit a fire within me. So in terms of the private practice that I started, I met with a couple therapists who own their own private practice and questioned them about how they got to where they're at. One specifically, I remember we got together at a local coffee shop, and I remember I left and I called my husband and I shared with him what she had told me. And I was like, I'm going to do this. She's right. I can totally make a successful business. Talk to others who are doing what it is you want to be doing. There is so much power behind that. That truly motivated the shit out of me. So do that. I did the same with the podcast. If you haven't listened to the collab with Liz Garcia, we talk about how I reached out to her. She has her own podcast. It's the Light Your Fire podcast. And I had been listening to her for 6 months to a year, something like that. Finally decided, she only lives a half hour away from me. So I finally decided, you know what, I'm going to reach out to her and just see if I can pick her brain about starting a podcast. And holy cow, now she's a mentor of mine and a friend. And she is also moving mountains in her business and podcast world. I mean, she truly helped light that fire within me as well. So do that. That will help get that drive, that if you don't feel you have the drive already, but I hope you do. And then another thing that really helped to light that fire within me was hearing what others were making financially. It's not all about the money. It's really not, you guys, but it helps. It really does. Hearing from others who were successfully doing what it is I wanted to be doing, finding out that I was capable of making a certain amount, that really helped. That was a game changer for me, and it kind of blew me out of the water, to be completely transparent. And then besides the money piece, hearing and seeing how happy these individuals were in their businesses and private practices, it truly impacted me. Especially the gal, her name's Colleen. I met with her. She owns her own private practice. As she was talking to me, I could see the passion as she was talking, and I could see the fire within her. And it was like, ooh, I want to experience this, and those things all really help. And then also just hearing and seeing the joy that came from talking about others' businesses and podcasts, because that's genuine and that's authentic. And that's what I was looking for. I didn't want somebody to sugarcoat it for me. I wanted authentic, real feedback, authentic, real stories. What worked for them? What didn't? What did they like or dislike about it? When I asked Colleen what she liked and disliked, she didn't have any dislikes to share with me. She's like, I'm living my best life. That's what I wanted to hear. And I didn't have to prompt her and tell her that. She just came out saying that. That's how I knew this was the right move for me. So again, go find others who are doing what it is you want to be doing. Pick their brain. Ask them to get together for coffee or lunch and just pick their brain. Find out what worked for them. Ask if they'd be willing to be a mentor for you. Seriously, that has the ability to really take that motivation up like 10 notches. So do your research, find these people. You will not regret it. One of my all-time favorite and still favorite podcast is called the Dream Your Life podcast by Julia Martin. I will link it in the show notes if you don't already listen to it. Highly recommend it. It was one of the podcasts that I started listening to during the pandemic, and I have been hooked ever since. I mean, Julia is just this amazing, amazing entrepreneur and podcaster. I put her at the status of somebody famous. She's just that amazing in my book. So if you don't listen to her podcast, download it and listen. You won't regret it. But in her episode number 95, she talks all about expanders. And that term really impacted me in my journey as I was starting my own business. Again, I highly recommend giving this episode a listen, or any of her episodes really, but she is an incredible woman, you guys. So going back to that term expander, an expander is anybody that you look at and think, wow, I would love to have what they have, or I would love to experience what they're experiencing, or I would love to feel what they're feeling. That's an expander for you. Or another way to put it is like people we aspire to be like, or the way Julia explains it, and this really resonates with me, it could be somebody who has a part of our unmet selves. So it's showing what we deeply desire, and it also shows us that what we want is possible. So these expanders, like I said before, it's people that are doing what it is you want to be doing, or people who we aspire to be like. This term really, really impacted me. That's honestly what led me to reaching out to Liz Garcia, and same with Colleen. After I learned about this term, I just started running with the idea. And that's what led me to reaching out to these people. And that was a game changer in my life. That's why I'm really pushing. If you have the motivation to go after what it is that lights you up inside, but you're like, I don't know where to start, this is where you start. Reach out to somebody who is an expander in your life. Seriously, it's a game changer. For me, that was other podcasters. That was other female business owners or other private practice owners. I just started reaching out to these people. I asked to get coffee. I asked to meet for lunch. And I came with questions ready that I wanted to ask them. And it motivated the heck out of me. And it helped me get a little bit more of a direction to know where to go with things. And not only did meeting with them teach me a lot, I also feel like it helped me to up level in my own life. And if that's a new term to you, when I say up level, I literally mean taking where you're at right now and just bumping life up a notch. And when you go after your dreams, you're going to up level. You're going to just get bumped up a notch or two. Mentally, financially, emotionally, professionally. I mean, you're going to up level. And if talking to these people doesn't do that to you, then maybe that's not the direction you need to be going, because it really should do that. Have you ever felt the power of being around people, being in a room with people who are making big things happen in their life, who are chasing after their dreams? Because if you haven't, figure out how to get in a room with people like that. That also was a game changer for me, because being in a room filled with people who are chasing that fire, people who are making their goals a reality, people who are passionate about what it is they're doing, there is so much power behind that. And it's fun. It's seriously so fun being around people like that. I'm a part of a female entrepreneur group here in Eastern Iowa, and we meet once a month. And I am always so fired up after those gatherings because it's fun. It's fun being around other people who are going after their dreams and who are making those dreams a reality. So reach out to those expanders. Try to get in rooms with people who are making their dreams a reality. If you're around here, I would recommend like this female entrepreneur group if you are a female entrepreneur. But otherwise, maybe start one in your area or go on Instagram and reach out to like 2 or 3 entrepreneurs in your area and see if you can start a monthly gathering, because there is a lot of power behind that. Also, like I said, it's fun. So, okay, to wrap up, life truly is too short to be stuck at a boring 9-to-5 job. If you like the 9-to-5, great, but it shouldn't be boring, okay? Life's too short. So grab your journal, write down all the things that you're passionate about, all the things that motivate you, all the things that excite you. Just see what comes to mind. Write it all down. Don't edit your thoughts. Anything that comes to the surface, write it down. Don't judge yourself. And then after you do that, see what comes up. Just read what you wrote. See what ideas come to the surface. See what comes up for you. And then take it a step further and figure out who your expanders are in your life. Reach out to them. Don't be shy. Part of making your dream a reality means putting yourself in discomfort and embracing the discomfort, because that's where the growth happens. So reach out to them. Even if you're scared, do it. I promise you, after doing it 2 or 3 times, your confidence is just going to go through the roof. Reach out to them, set up lunch, set up coffee, learn from them, pick their brain. It is a game changer. Okay. I think that's all I have for today. Thank you guys for listening. I hope that this was helpful for at least one of you. If it was, I would love it if you would DM me or text me, reach out to me. Let me know how it impacted you. Let me know what you got from it. Also, like I said earlier, please go on whatever app you listen to it on and review the podcast. It doesn't personally benefit me, but it helps to get this out to more listeners. And that's the whole goal, you guys, is more people that need to hear these messages. So please rate and review. Yeah, besides that, if anybody comes to mind as you're listening that you think she really needs to hear this, pass it on to a friend or a family member. That is also really helpful. And I believe whoever comes to mind, there's no coincidence behind that. They're meant to hear this message. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you guys next week. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to us. It means so much to me. If there were any aha moments or anything that really resonated with you on today's episode, then please take a minute and share it on your social media and tag me so I can personally thank you. Also, if you could, please rate and review the podcast as it is new, and that really helps to get the word out there more and reach even more listeners. I'll catch you on the next episode.